stays a little longer every evening now. The kind of light that makes you stop and look. I stood out in the garden after dinner and felt something I couldn't name out loud. It happens every year around this time, when spring is nearly done and summer's close. I think of everyone I used to know, and all the ones I miss the most. The last of May is always the most beautiful. The last of May, the sweetest days of spring, when the evenings stretch so golden into nightfall, and every little thing means everything. I don't know why the ending always gets me. I don't know why the leaving always stays, but something in the last of May reminds me of everyone I loved in younger days. The old tree in the yard is full of blossoms, the same tree that was always there before. And I remember sitting underneath it with people who don't walk through that door anymore. I'm not sad the way I used to get now. I've learned to hold the missing like a friend. The last of May will always bring them back to me, and then the summer comes and I begin again. The last of May is always the most beautiful. The last of May, the sweetest days of spring, when the evenings stretch so golden into nightfall, and every little thing means everything. I'll stand here in the garden just a little longer and let the last of May light find my face. The last of May, the most beautiful time, the most beautiful place. I heard a song today you would have loved, the kind that makes you wanna call someone. I reached for the phone before I caught myself, and sat there with the music and the sun. You always knew a good song right away. You'd hum along before you knew the words, and by the second chorus you'd be singing the sweetest voice I've ever heard. You know this song, I wish that you could hear it. You'd know this song the way you always did. You'd close your eyes and let the melody move through you and say, that's it, that's exactly it. I play it now and think of all the times we sat together letting music in. You'd know this song, I know you'd love this song, and I'm singing it for you. The May air through the window smells like always, like cut grass and the end of something sweet. And I've been sitting here since after breakfast, just letting all the old songs find their beat. I've learned that missing someone isn't only sadness, it's love that has nowhere left to land. So every song I play on days like this one is my way of reaching for your hand. You know this song, I wish that you could hear it. You know this song the way you always knew. You tap your foot and smile before the chorus, the way you always smiled at something true. I play it loud enough for both of us and let the music do what music does. You know this song, you always knew the good ones, just like you always knew, just like you always knew.
I'm sitting on the porch in the late May evening. The fireflies are just beginning in the grass. My wife is reading somewhere in the house behind me, and everything about this feels like it could last. There's music coming softly from the kitchen radio, something old that neither of us planned. And the neighborhood is quiet after dinner, and I have everything I'll ever need on hand. One more evening like this is all I'm asking. One more slow and golden end of day. One more cup of something warm beside the railing. One more reason not to wish my life away. I've spent enough of it in too much hurry. I've learned what matters and what doesn't now. One more evening like this is all I'm asking. And And if I get it, I'll be glad somehow. The kids called earlier, and everyone is doing fine. The grandkids said a few words on the phone, and I sat there just so full of something nameless, the feeling of a man who's found his home. Not the house, though I do love this old house, but the life inside it and the ones who stay. One more evening like this is enough to make the whole long week feel like a holiday. One more evening like this is all I'm asking. One more slow and golden end of May. One more porch and one more quiet radio. One more night before it all turns into gray. I've been lucky, and I know that I've been lucky. I've been loved, and I have loved in return. One more evening like this is all I'm asking. One more beautiful thing left to learn. One more evening just like this. When I was young, I used to rush through everything. The meals, the drives, the mornings and the nights. I thought that life was somewhere up ahead of me, and I was always trying to get it right. But somewhere in the middle of the living, I stopped and looked around at what I had, and found that I'd been running past the good parts and chasing something that I never had. Let the days be long, let the evenings last, let the good things linger, don't let them go too fast. The Maylight on the hillside, the sound of someone's name. Let the days be long, and let the love remain. I've learned the hard way that the rushing gets you nowhere. Let the days be long. Let the days be long. I take my time now getting through the morning. I leave the radio on while I eat. I watch the light come through the kitchen window and let myself be glad to have the heat. My father always said, enjoy the small things. I rolled my eyes because I was was too young, but now I understand exactly what he meant. And I wish I listened when he sung. Let the days be long, let the evenings last, let the good things linger, don't let them go too fast. A late May afternoon that asks for nothing, a bird that finds the same branch every day. Let the days be long, there's nothing left to prove now. Let the days be long. Let the days be long. Just let the days be long.
There's a smell that comes in late May evenings, like rain on warm pavement after dark, like honeysuckle somewhere down the alley, like the summers of the very early part of my life, when I was just beginning, when the world was wide and full of open doors, and every late May evening smelled of promise, and I believed in everything and more. The smell of late May takes me back so quickly, faster than a photograph or song. The smell of late May puts me in the backyard of the house where I was little all along. My mother at the screen door calling dinner, the sprinkler going somewhere down the lane. The smell of late May, I would give anything to smell that world again. I know that you can't live inside a memory. I know the past is past and meant to stay, but some things come back in the late May evenings and make you feel it all just like today. I stood outside last night and just breathed slowly, and something in the air was almost right, almost like that backyard in the springtime, almost like a late May childhood night. The smell of late May takes me back so quickly, faster than a photograph could do. The smell of late May puts me somewhere younger, when everything was simple and was new. My mother at the screen door, father laughing, the radio on some beautiful of all. I looked in the mirror on a Tuesday morning and saw my mother looking back at me. I stood there just a little longer than I needed, trying to remember who I used to be. Not with sadness, more with something like amazement at how the years had quietly slipped through. When did we get here? When did this all happen? When did the girl I was become the woman that I knew? When did we get here? Where did the time go? One day we were young and now we're watching children grow. When did we get here? How did the years go by so fast? When did the future turn into the past? I'm not complaining, I have loved this life I've made. But when did we get here? When did we get here? I called my oldest friend on Sunday evening. We talked for hours the way we used to do. She said I still feel 20-something inside me, and I laughed and said I feel the same way too. We talked about the people that we started with, the ones still here and ones who've gone away. And somewhere in between the laughing and the quiet, we both agreed we wouldn't have it any other way. When did we get here? Where did the time go? One day we were laughing in the rain outside the show. When did we get here? How did the seasons stack so high? When did the young ones start to call us by and by? I'm not complaining, Lord, I've loved the ride I've had. When did we get here? I'm so glad we did. So glad we did.
I didn't write a novel or climb any mountains. I didn't leave my name on any wall. But I showed up for the people who were counting, and I like to think I answered when they'd call. I planted things and watched them grow in season. I fixed the things that broke around the house. I held my children when the world felt scary, and tried to be the one they couldn't doubt. It's a good life. It's a good life. Not a perfect one, but close enough for me. It's a good life. It's a good life. Full of everything a life was meant to be. Not the one I always thought I'd have at 20, but better in the ways that really count. Oh, it's a good life, and I'm grateful for each morning. It's a good life, without a doubt. The neighbors know my name and wave on Sundays. The dog still meets me at the door each night. And somewhere in the ordinary middle of all of this, I found what felt like right. My father said, son, just be a decent person, and everything else will find its way. I think he was more right than he knew then, and I try to live by that to this day. It's a good life. It's a good life, made of small things piled up beautifully. It's a good life. It's a good life. All the seasons and the people given free. Not the grand life and not the one in pictures, but the one where love kept showing at the door. Oh, it's a good life, and I would choose it over. It's a good life, forevermore. A good life, and it's mine. I remember thinking I had all the time in the world, back when the summers lasted long, when the days were wide and everything was open, and every year felt like another song. Put off things I should have done that Tuesday. I saved for later what was needed now. And later came and went more times than I can count, and I'm only just now seeing how. Too fast, too soon. The good days always leave you too fast, too soon. Before you say goodbye, too fast, too soon. I let the best ones pass me Not too late to love it, not too late to hold it in my hand. I missed some sunsets being somewhere else. I missed some birthdays and some quiet dinners. I told myself I'd make it up to everyone, and mostly did, but not without some splinters. Now when the late May light comes through the window, I stay right there and let it do its thing, because I know now what I didn't know at 30, that ordinary days are everything. Too fast, too soon, the good days always go. Too fast, too soon, but listen while they're here. Too fast, too soon, I know I can't get back them, but I can love the ones that still appear. Now the late May evenings find me on the porch, just sitting in the last of the good light. Too fast, too soon, but beautiful regardless. Too fast, too soon, and still alright. Still alright. Still alright. We were the kind of friends who told each other everything, who stayed up late and laughed until we cried, who knew each other's secrets and each other's stories, and never once thought time would make us hide. Life got in the way that life does. The miles and the years and all the rest. But somehow in the way that only old friends manage, we found our way back to what we knew was best. The friends we were are still inside us somewhere. The friends we were, I recognize them yet. In every laugh that hasn't changed since always, in every story neither of us has forgot. The friends we were, they taught me how to be here. The friends we were, they showed me what is true. And all these years and all these miles between us, I'm still the friend I always was to you. We met for lunch last May and sat for hours, and neither of us wanted to go home. And somewhere in the talking and remembering, I felt less like myself and less alone, because you knew me back
that knowing is the best thing. The time and distance never could erase the friends we were are still inside us somewhere. The friends we were come out on afternoons like this, in every old familiar way of speaking, in every easy silence that we miss. The friends we were still recognize each other across the years and everything we've known. The friends we were, I'm glad we kept each other. Neither one of us was meant to go it alone. Neither one of us alone. There are things I meant to say and never said. On ordinary days when there was time, I thought the time would always be there waiting, the way we always think the sun will shine. I meant to say how much your laugh meant to me. I meant to say I love the way you'd call. I meant to say you were the one who held me when I felt like I was going to fall. Everything I didn't say is what I carry now. Everything I didn't say was love without a sound. All the words I say for later are the ones I need the most. Everything I didn't say lies somewhere close. Lies somewhere close. I'm learning now to say the things I'm feeling before the moment asks too much of me. I'm calling people just to say I love them, because I know now how fast the time can be. And when the late May evenings come around and something in the air is soft and kind, I say out loud the things I should have said before, so nothing gets left only in my mind.
little apartment on the third floor, with windows that would stick and floors that creaked, a kitchen barely big enough for both of us, and hardly anything from week to week. But we had music, and we had each other, and Friday nights with something cheap to drink, and all the conversation in the world, and more love than we ever stopped to think. Back when we had nothing, we had everything. Back when we had nothing, we were rich. A fold-out couch, a radio, a dream or two, and each other, and the evening, and the bliss. Back when we had nothing, we were laughing. Back when we had nothing, we were full of something that the years keep trying to remind me was the best thing in the world, was the best thing in the world. The neighbors used to bang upon the ceiling because we play the music far too loud, and we would turn it down and then forget ourselves and lose the night inside the sound. I'd give a lot to go back for one evening to that little place before the world got wide. Not to stay, but just to feel it one more time, the way it felt to be that young inside. Back when we had nothing, we had everything. Back when we had nothing, time was slow. A borrowed car, a picnic in the park somewhere, and nowhere we were needing to go. Back when we had nothing, we were happy. Back when we had nothing, we were free. And I would trade a lot to spend one more night in that little place with nothing, just you and me. Just you and me. Left on a Tuesday in the early morning, before the rest of us were up and dressed. He didn't wake me, and I've always wondered if he knew it was the last and gave me a rest. We weren't the kind of men who said much easily. A handshake was as close as we would get, but something in the silence between fathers, and son says more than words have managed yet. He never said goodbye, and neither did I. We were that kind of people, him and I. But every time I watched him drive away, I think we both knew what we meant to say. He never said goodbye, and neither did I. We didn't need the words to know the love. He never said goodbye. When the morning took him quietly, I like to think he knew. I like to think he knew. Last time that I saw him, he was smaller, the way the old ones get toward the end. Mine right back, and we just sat there like we'd always been. And somewhere in that sitting was the goodbye that neither of us ever said out loud. And I carry that last afternoon inside me like the quietest and most sacred thing I found. He never said goodbye, and neither did I. We were that kind of people all along. But I can feel him in the late May evenings when the light goes gold and someone plays an old song. He never said goodbye, and neither did I. Some love is just too deep for words like those. He never said goodbye, but every time I hear his kind of music, I know, I know, I know. Been carrying lately. I see it in the way you hold your eyes. And I won't tell you things will all get easy, but I will sit right here while you decide to let it down just for a little while. To breathe the late May air and just be still. The world will still be there when you are ready, but right now all it's asking is that you will. While the spring is still here, let me love you. While the spring is still here, let me stay. While
while the evenings are still long and warm and golden. Let me be the one who helps you through the gray. You don't have to carry this alone now. You don't have to figure out the why. While the spring is still here, I'll be right beside you, just the two of us in the open sky. There's a bench beside the garden in the evening, where I've sat on my hard days more than once. And something in the late May air around it has a way of making hard things feel less blunt. I'll take you there if you would like to go there, or we'll stay inside and I'll just hold your hand. But either way, you're not alone this season, and you don't have to always understand. While the spring is still here, let me love you. While the spring is still here, I won't go. While the evenings are still warm enough for sitting, let me give you back the things that you let go. You have given so much of yourself now. Let somebody give a little back to you. While the spring is still here, let me be that somebody, the way that you have always been for me, the way that you have always been for me. We ran into each other at the market. After all this time, you look the same. We talked for half an hour in the produce section, and neither of us mentioned the old pain, because we're just old friends now. Just old friends who used to mean the world. Just old friends now. More than strangers, less than we once were. And something in the kindness of the meeting was better than I thought that it could be. Just old friends now, and that's a beautiful thing, you and me. We talked about our children and our gardens, about the neighborhood and how it's changed. And somewhere in between the easy laughter, I felt how far we'd come to feel this safe. Because once we were the most important people in each other's whole and complicated lives. And now we're just old friends who wave on Tuesdays. And that's a kind of love that still survives. We're just old friends now, just old friends who carry something warm, just old friends now, through every season and every storm. And I walked home with something light inside me, a gratitude I didn't know I'd find. Just old friends now, and after everything, that's fine. That's more than fine. Just old friends. And I'm glad, I'm glad.
The May is almost over for another year. The evenings still are warm but getting short, and something in the turning of the season has given me a feeling I can't sort. Not sadness and not joy, but something between them. The way the last of something always feels, like you're standing in a moment worth remembering, before the ordinary world reveals. One last May evening, let me just be here. One last May evening, golden and clear. One last walk along the road when the light is low. One last reason to be glad that I'm alive. One last May evening, I'll carry it with me into whatever season comes on the other side. I think of all the people who have loved me, and all the ways that love has held me up, through all the hard and beautiful and in between, through every empty and every full cup. And standing here in the last of the May evening, I feel them all around me like a song. All the ones still here and all the ones now gone. And I know that I have always, always belonged. One last May evening, I'll hold it like a gift. One last May evening before the One last breath of everything the spring has been. One last May evening. Thank you for the season. Thank you for each ordinary beautiful day. One last May evening. I am here. I am grateful. I am home. The radio was playing something lovely. The windows open wide to let the May come through. You were humming in the kitchen on that morning, and the whole world smelled of coffee and of you. Oh, those mornings felt like they would last forever. We were young and didn't know what young was worth. Now I hear that song again on quiet evenings, and I'm back inside the warmest May on earth. The warmest May, the golden afternoons, the warmest May beneath the same old moon, when everything we needed was right here, and love was easy in that warmest May. In that warmest May, the neighbors had their radio on Sundays, old songs drifting through the summer air, children laughing somewhere down the avenue, and you were reading in your favorite chair. Oh, I know the time keeps moving ever forward, and I know those days are gone beyond recall. But if I close my eyes on certain evenings, I can feel that May, the sweetest May of all. The warmest May, the golden afternoons, the warmest May beneath the same old moon, when everything we needed was right here, and love was easy in that warmest May. Those simple days, that easy kind of love, that warm May light coming through, the warmest May I ever knew was any May that I
I put the kettle on and found an old familiar song and let the rainy afternoon go by. There's something about rain that brings it all back clearly. The faces and the places and the names. And I find myself just standing at the window, remembering a love that still remains. Somewhere in the rain, I hear you calling. Somewhere in the rain, you're close to me. Every drop that falls is soft reminder of the one I loved so effortlessly. Somewhere in the rain, the years go backwards, and I'm standing where we used to stand. Somewhere in the rain, you're still beside me, reaching out to take my hand. The kettle's whistling now, but I'm not moving. I'm somewhere far away and long ago. A rainy afternoon, so much like this one, when we were young and had nowhere to go. We stayed inside and listened to the radio and talked about the life we were going to live. And everything ahead seemed full of promise, and we had everything that love could give. Somewhere in the rain, I hear you calling. Somewhere in the rain, you're close to me. Every drop that falls is soft reminder of the love I'll always carry. Somewhere in the rain, the world gets quiet, and I remember who we used to be. Somewhere in the rain, you're still beside me, and that's close enough for me. Somewhere in the rain, close enough for me.
Every Sunday morning after breakfast, my father used to take us for a drive. No destination, nothing planned or special, just the open road and being alive. We'd roll the windows down, whatever the weather. Mother always packed a little lunch, and somewhere on those long and winding back roads, We became a family, more than just a bunch. Sunday drive, the whole world moving slowly. Sunday drive, the radio turned low. Fields and farms and little country churches, and all the quiet places that we used to know. Sunday drive, my father at the wheel there, my mother with her elbow on the door. Sunday drive, the best of all our Sundays. I'd give anything for one more Sunday drive. My own kids used to roll their eyes on Sundays when I'd say, come on, let's just go for a ride. They'd groan and ask if we could please be back soon, but always seemed a little glad inside. Now they're grown and driving on their Sundays, and I wonder if they think of those old roads, and whether somewhere in the driving slowly they feel the thing I always wanted them to know. Sunday drive, the whole world moving slowly. Sunday drive, no hurry, nowhere to be, just the road unfolding easy up ahead us, and all the time in the world for you and me. Sunday drive, the windows open wide now, the radio on something old and sweet. Sunday drive, wherever the road is taking us is exactly where I want to be, exactly where I want to be. One more Sunday drive. There was an old radio in my grandmother's kitchen, brown and wooden with a yellow dial. She'd have it on from morning until evening, and it filled the house with music all the while. The songs that came out of that old brown radio were the songs that taught me what a song could be. Simple words and melodies so easy that they lived inside you like a memory. Old radio, you played the songs that shaped me. Old radio, your music made me whole. Every song you played was like a doorway into something deep inside my soul. Old radio, I hear you in forgotten. I still feel you everywhere. My mother knew the words to every song then. She'd sing along without a second thought, and I would learn the melodies beside her, not knowing that I was being gently taught. That music was the thing that held us together through the ordinary days and hard ones too. That every song on that old kitchen radio was someone somewhere singing something true. Old radio, you played the songs that shaped me. Old radio, your music made me whole. Every song you played was like a window looking out on someone else's soul. Old radio, I hear you in the evening when the house is quiet and the day is done. Old radio, you gave me all this music. Every song, everyone, every song, everyone. Found a letter in an old coat pocket, the handwriting I knew before I read a word, the paper thin and soft from years of folding, the voice inside it clear as when I heard you wrote about the spring and all its promise, about the plans we made and the road ahead. You wrote as if the future was wide open, as if we had forever left unsaid. A letter from the past still speaks so clearly. A letter from the past still knows my name. A letter from the past brings back the feeling of everything we were before life changed. Every word you wrote is still so careful. Every line still carries all your love. A letter from the past, a gift I hold on to when missing you is not enough. When missing you is not enough. The years have come and gone since you wrote this letter, and I have changed in ways you wouldn't know. But something of the girl who read it first is still right here and doesn't want to go. I read it in the quiet
piece of you, the most important part. Every word you wrote still feels like morning. Every line still feels like coming home. A letter from the past, so I never really all alone. There was a house on Elm Street where I grew up, with a green front door and curtains made of white, where the smell of something cooking in the evening was the best thing in the world at end of night. There was a porch where we would sit in summer, and a yard where every autumn leaves would fall, and a radio that played through every season, and a family that I loved through it all. The house on Elm Street, I can see it clearly. The house on Elm Street, where it all began, where my mother kept the light on in the window, and my father was the biggest, safest man. The house on Elm Street, where the years were golden before the world got complicated. The walls have changed, a stranger lives there now. I drove by once and barely recognized the place, but close my eyes and it is just as I left it, and everyone I loved is in their place. My brother at the table doing homework, my sister on the phone is always there, and mother in the kitchen, father reading, and everything exactly as it was. The house on Elm Street, I can see it clearly. The house on Elm Street, where it all began, where my mother kept the light on in the window, and my father was the biggest, safest man. The house on Elm Street, where we all were golden before we scattered to the winds so wide. The house on Elm Street lives inside me always, right here inside, right here inside, always.
for conversation. He'd rather show you things than try to say. But every summer Saturday he'd wake me before the light, and we would drive away down to the river where he knew the good spots. He'd hand me my rod and show me how to cast, and we would sit for hours saying nothing, while the morning turned to afternoon too fast. Fishing with my father on a Saturday, the river running quiet, cool and clear. Fishing with my father on a Saturday, the best days of my childhood happened here. He never said I love you in so many words, but I could feel it in the way he'd show me things. Fishing with my father on a Saturday, I understood everything. He's gone now and the river's still out there. I took my son down to that same old spot and handed him the rod the way my father had handed it to me and shown the knot. And somewhere in the tying of that knot, I felt my father's hands right over mine, and understood that love is what gets handed down through all the Saturday mornings down the line. Fishing with my father on a Saturday, the river running quiet, cool and clear. Fishing with my father on a Saturday, I can still feel him standing right here. He never said I love you in so many words, but I could read it in the way he'd smile at me. Fishing with my father on a Saturday, he gave me everything. He gave me everything. In a small town summer, everything moved slowly. The days were long and nobody was in a rush. The drugstore on the corner had a soda fountain and a jukebox nobody had to hush. The driving on the highway showed on Fridays, and everybody went on Saturday night. And somewhere in the middle of all Everything about the world felt right. Small town summer, barefoot on the pavement. Small town summer, screen doors letting in the breeze. Small town summer, radio on the back porch, and all the time we wanted just to be. Small town summer, first love in the twilight. Small town summer, fireflies in the lane. Small town summer, I would go back in a heartbeat to live one more small town summer again. One more small town summer again. The faces that I knew on every corner are scattered now to every wind and place. But when I hear a song from that old summer, I swear I see each one of them right face to face. My first love lived 3 houses down the road then. She smelled of sunlight and of something sweet. And every evening on her porch, we'd talk for hours about the world beyond our little street. Small town summer, barefoot on the pavement. Small town summer, screen doors letting in the breeze. Small town summer, radio on the back porch, and all the slow and golden time to be. Small town summer, her hand in mine at twilight. Small town summer, a love that felt so real. Small town summer, I carry it inside me. The most beautiful thing I'll ever feel. The most beautiful thing I'll ever feel.
There was a song my mother always hummed while doing the dishes after dinner was done. I never knew the name or all the words to it, but the melody was softer than the sun. She'd hum it in the garden in the morning. She'd hum it when the house was dark and still. And something in that sound made everything feel safe, the way that only a mother's humming will. The song my mother sang is still inside me. The song my mother sang, I hear it yet. Every time the world gets heavy around me, that melody is all I need to set things right again, to find my way back home. just a simple song, but it opened every door. It opened every door. I tried to find the name of it once, searching through old records in a second-hand shop downtown. The man behind the counter couldn't help me, but he smiled and said some songs can't be found, because some songs belong to just one person and live only in the ones who heard them sung. And maybe that's the way it was meant to be. That song was hers to give and mine to keep. The song my mother sang is still inside me. The song my mother sang will never end. I pass it on by humming in the kitchen, and someday maybe someone will hum it again. For me, the way she hummed it every evening, for the child who needed nothing but that sound. The song my mother sang, the most beautiful song I've ever found, I've ever found. Remember when the summers lasted longer? Remember when we stayed out after dark? Remember when a song on the radio could stop you in your tracks and break your heart? Remember when we wrote our names on everything? Remember when we thought that time stood still? Remember when we didn't know how fast it went? Remember when? Remember when? Do you remember? Do you remember all the days we thought would never end? Do you remember? Do you remember? Oh, I love remembering with you, my friend. Every little thing we left behind us, every laugh and tear along the way. Do you remember? Do you remember how beautiful it was back in those days? Back in those days. Remember when the radio played everything? Remember when we danced in someone's yard? Remember when we thought that love was simple, before we learned that love was also hard?
first summer of my life was 17, when everything was possible and new, when every morning felt like an adventure, and every evening came back home to you. We worked the summer jobs we were assigned to. We saved our wages up for Friday nights, and somewhere in that season full of promise, we became the people we'd be all our lives. The longest summer, golden and forever. The longest summer, when the world was wide. The longest summer, I can still remember every song that played, every starry night. The longest summer, how I loved that summer, how I loved the person that I was back then. If I could live one summer twice, I'd choose it. I'd live that longest summer once again. Once again. We talked about the future like we knew it. We named the lives we planned to lead someday, and some of them came true and some just faded, the way that summer dreams so often fade away. But I don't hold it with regret or sorrow. I hold it like a letter I still love to read. The longest summer gave me something lasting, something I have never ceased to need. The longest summer, golden and forever. The longest summer lives inside me still. The longest summer, every time I need it, I go back there when the world grows still. The longest summer, that was when I knew it, that life was the most beautiful of things. If I could give a gift to every young heart, I'd give them one long summer like that dream. One long summer like that dream. Old friends are the ones who knew you before you figured out who you would be. Old friends are the ones who have the stories that you'd rather no one else could see. Old friends are the ones you call at midnight who pick up without asking what is wrong. Old friends are the ones who know the chorus of every single verse of every song. Old friends, there's nothing quite like old friends who've walked with you through all of it. Old friends, the longer roads we've taken only make the friendship better fit. Old friends, I look across the table now and see the years we've carried side by side. Old friends, I wouldn't trade a single memory. You've been the greatest joy of my whole life. We were young men once with everything before us. We talked all night about the world we'd make. Most of it turned out a little different, but the friendship was the best thing we could take. We've buried ones we loved and held each other. We've watched our children grow up and move on. And here we are still sitting at this table, still laughing like the years just haven't gone. Old friends, there's nothing quite like old friends who've been there for the best and worst of it. Old friends, the longer roads we walk down only make the friendship better fit. Old friends, I look across the table now and see the faces of my whole long life. Old friends, I wouldn't trade a single memory. You've been worth every mile, every beautiful mile. Old friends, every mile.
On Saturday evenings after dinner, my parents used to push the furniture back and put a record on the old turntable and fill the living room with music and with laughter. My father held my mother like she was the world and danced her round and round the open floor. And we kids would watch from somewhere on the staircase and want that kind of love forevermore. Dancing in the living room on Saturday, the furniture pushed back against the wall. Dancing in the living room on Saturday, the most beautiful was all they've got. I do the same thing now on Saturday evenings. I push back all the chairs and find a song, and take my husband's hand and start us turning. And suddenly the years just go along. My grandchildren look up from where they're sitting with that same wide look I must have worn, and I hope they take it with them into their lives the way I took my parents' love before. Dancing in the living room on Saturday, the furniture pushed back against the wall. Dancing in the living room on Saturday, still the most beautiful sight of all. My husband's hand still holding me so gently, moving to a song that time forgot. Dancing in the living room on Saturday, remembering that love is all we've got. Remembering that love is all we've got. All we've got. All we need. 50 years ago today, you said you loved me, standing on my doorstep in the rain. I didn't know that I would spend my lifetime learning what that moment would contain. 50 years of mornings at the table, 50 years of sleeping side by side, 50 years of everything in between us, 50 years of being your bride. 50 years ago today seems like yesterday, like 100 lifetimes all at once. 50 years ago today, you chose me, and every day since then I've chosen us. Every fight we found our way back through it, every joy was sweeter shared with you. 50 years ago today, you said you loved me, and I've spent 50 years knowing it was true. Knowing it was true. The children came and then the grandchildren followed, and somehow here we are with silver hair. And when I look at you across the table, I still see the man who met me on the stair. 50 years of learning you completely, years of choosing every morning to stay right here and let the love just grow. 50 years ago today seems like yesterday, and like the whole of everything I've known. 50 years ago today you found me, and every year since then I've been at home. Every road we took together, every season good and hard and true. 50 years ago today you said you loved me, and I would say it back 1,000 times to you. 1,000 times to you.
Turn the old radio on this evening. Let the music fill the quiet of the room. There are songs that know us better than we know ourselves, songs that find us in the dark and lead us through. Every song I've ever loved has saved me in some small or not so small kind of way. The right song at the right moment is a miracle that nobody makes, but everybody craves. The old songs know, the old songs always know what the heart is carrying but can't say. The old songs know the roads that you have traveled, and they meet you at the end of every day. When the world is complicated and the hours are long, and everything you feel is hard to show, just turn on the old radio, let the music play. The old songs know, the old songs know. I think of all the people who have loved these songs before I ever heard them for the first time, and all the ones who'll find them long after I'm gone, still singing every melody and every line. A song outlasts the singer and the season. A song outlasts the moment it was made, and something in that permanence is comforting, like love itself. A song is not afraid. The old songs know, the old songs always know what we're feeling when we don't have words. The old songs know the weight of years upon you, and they carry it as lightly
Let the music play, the old songs know. The old songs know. Turn the radio on this evening. Let the old songs do what old songs do. The old songs know. They always knew.